The Indian Independence Movement by Faisal Ismail and Valeria Cowell. From 1857 to 1947, India was under the rule of Great Britain. While under their rule, India had no say in what they wanted for their central government. The British had left India with minimum influences on their policies and decision-making. This caused the educated middle class of India to come together as a community to create the Indian National Conference. This conference was focused on allowing India to have a bigger say in their government. The conference created the Monumental Reform. This reform allowed Indian nationalists to sit in council meetings that dealt with government issues. The reform also allowed each province to have a governor.
There are many supporters of the movement of independence. Three significant people are Gopal Kakal, Mahatma Gandhi, and Jawaharlal Nehru. Gopal Kakal was a senior leader of the Indian National Congress. He was also one of the founding leaders of the Indian independence movement. He led nationalists in the early years of the movement. Mahatma Gandhi was a non-violent protester in the movement against British rule. He avoided violence by creating a non-cooperative movement. This movement had boycotted not only British manufacturers, but institutions operated or aided by the British, such as legislatures, courts, offices, and schools. Also, Jawaharlal Nehru had joined the Indian National Congress. He was influenced by Gandhi and eventually took over for Gandhi after he retired. He had a role for negotiation in the independence movement. After India had become independent, he became the first prime minister.
There were not many that opposed this movement. The only people this movement affected negatively were the British. This was because if Britain lost India, they would lose a great amount of land and territory.
The following events had led up to the Indian independence. On March 10, 1922, Gandhi was arrested for sedition and was sentenced to 6 years in prison, but released 2 years later for an appendix operation. When released, the Congress Party had slipped into two factions. The split was the end of the non-cooperation movement from 1920 to 1922. One of the factions was ran by C. Rajagopalachari and Vallabhbhai, one who were for the British, and the other was ran by Chittadas and Motilal Nehru, who were the independents of India. Another important event happening during the independence movement was on March 12, 1930, when Gandhi had led the civil disobedience against British rule.
Peace is its own reward. Mahatma Gandhi. Without peace, all other dreams vanish and are reduced to ashes. Jawaharlal Nehru. India finally became free from Britain's rule. However, they still did not have absolute freedom. The Hindus and the Muslims in India had major conflicts, and they could not get along. They came to an agreement of becoming separate countries, Pakistan and India. Now India had officially gained absolute freedom. After achieving independence, Jawaharlal Nehru had become India's first prime minister. He led the National Congress to become the largest and most influential party for 30 years. He had led them to victory. After his first term, he was elected again for another 5-year term. While he was Prime Minister of India, India had developed a constitution and it was published November 25th, 1949.